And welcome to the last video in the Black Friday extravaganza. Yeah, we have had a great and wonderful creative week. I hope you have loved it so far. It's not over yet. We are down to the final bundle to show you, and more importantly to craft with. And if you need more, we are going live on Friday at 11 and 7 as well. So until then, shall we just have a play and get started? So we are down to the last bundle, and all I can say is this bundle is huge, and we kick it off with what was the most popular stamp last year, butterfly style. In fact, I've gone out and bought more stamps just to put them in this bundle, which is crazy. So you're going to be getting this at an insane price. So we have the gorgeous and elegant, beautiful style. So we've got all the stamps in this collection. We have Wings of Change as well. We have Butterfly Kisses. She is just gorgeous. And we've got gorgeous sentiments like a butterfly, her wings unfolded. Then we have this one, which was based on my daughter. And it says, if nothing ever changed, there would be no butterflies. And she is a real cutie patootie. We then have the Beautiful Dreams stamp collection. So we've got the gorgeous Aurora, and then we've got the rainbow. This is an amazing scene building set. We've got this gorgeous branch. The greater your storm, the brighter your rainbow. If being was awesome was a colour, you'd be a rainbow. So we'll kind of split that up. Okay, when it rains, it looks for rainbows. That is gorgeous. This little gorgeous girl is, oh my goodness, I love her so much. This is Misty. So we have got this, believe in yourself and you will be unstoppable. So gorgeous. And then she's positioned so that you can either add the paintbrush or the umbrella to her hands if you wish. We then have these that are just gorgeous for building backgrounds, and also they are sized. So Aurora will fit perfectly onto there if you want to have her on a swing. You are the bumble to my bee, daydream, time to relax, time to make your soul happy. And then we have this one in the moonlight. So it's perfect for building. This can be used for daytime scenes because it'd be a sun as well, or it can be a moon. We've got gorgeous dangles and yeah, just clouds and moons. So gorgeousness. So we've got 8 stamps in there, but that is not all. We also have the Kaleidoscope stencils. Yours will be nice and cute, clean and fresh. So we've got this one, that's the stencil and the mask, which is just incredibly useful. We have this one here, which is another butterfly one, but we've got the sort of designer element with the circles and the little butterfly trail. These are just lush. We have the rice papers that go with the butterfly collection, but also the musical collection. So this is stunning. These are absolutely gorgeous. And then finally we have the patterned petaled papers. So this is a huge bundle, and all I can say is the price is going to be insanely cheap. Plus, if you are signed up to my newsletter, there will be extra discounts in there, so the details for that will be below. But let's just stop talking about that, because this is not about all being salesy, it's about crafting. So let's play with these gorgeous goodies. So I have decided to start off with these rice papers. Now I have to say, normally with rice papers, I lean into the fact that they are rice papers and you can blend them beautifully, and I would normally cut them, or not cut them, tear them using a wet brush. But this time I actually decided to use my scissors. I thought I quite fancied the crisp outline, and I was going to create a scene for the gorgeous Aurora to sit on. So I just fussy cut it out as I would any other paper, and glued that down and neatened up the pages. But maybe we can have a play with various ways to use rice paper in the future. That might be an idea. So we're stamping up the gorgeous Aurora as mentioned. I have used my Memento ink to do that, and that is because I am using my alcohol markers. So you want to use a water-based ink if you are using a solvent-based product to colour with. So it's a bit like oil and water, they won't mix. So you always want to go for the ink pad that won't mix. So Memento wouldn't work with your water-based products because it will activate it. So that is why we choose it for our alcohol markers. There will be a more detailed video on a guide to stamping or using alcohol markers with your stamps to come. But we have gone with a gorgeous red dress for her and a black brolly to match the colours that are in the rice paper. So let's say I have in my head the idea of a scene, her sort of sitting there on the music sheets, and so I decided to stamp out some clouds, and at this point I absolutely hate it. It wasn't going how it was in my head. I couldn't see past it. I couldn't make it work. So I fixed the way you fix any craft project. Gesso. Gesso is the answer to all your craft problems. Maybe not quite, but you know, it does help. So at this point I black it all out and I walk away. I think I left it overnight and just came back to it fresh the next day. Yes, I did make sure that I was wearing the same jumper for continuity. So I decided then to use the other girl, as you saw. As you've already seen me colouring up somebody, I don't think you needed to see that twice. And I've taken out this sentiment because it's a nice chunky sentiment, like a butterfly, her wings unfolded, because it looks like her hands are holding them. To match the sentiment, I thought it would be good if she had wings. So I've stamped one of the butterflies out, and then I'm cutting right into the image here so you can see it, and I'm just going to bend it to show you how far I've cut in. And that is just so that I can pop the wings so that they would look like they're on her back and we can actually see them. If I did it behind the image as was, they were kind of lost. I did eventually, as you can see, switch them out for yellow wings because you couldn't actually see the red ones. They didn't look right. So because the background paper, or the rice paper, has kind of got a bit of a vintage tint, the stark white wasn't working for me, so I've used a bit of antique linen just to knock it back a little bit, so that it matches the rest of the project. So we're just going to get that stuck all down, including her gorgeous little yellow wings. And now I'm actually creating a project that I really am enjoying. So I think that's a really good thing. Never view things as a mistake or as an awful. It's a creative opportunity, and quite often you end up creating something that you love, which at one point you hated. So I decided to do some embossing. Hands up how many people started crafting when they saw how magical embossing was. I love it, and yet it's something that I very rarely do. So yeah, I decided to emboss these, mostly because an ink pad wouldn't really, look how magical that is, an ink pad wouldn't really show up on this project. So I thought if we did a bit of gold embossing, we could have some gorgeous, lovely dangles. And then I am painting the butterflies yellow to match her wing. Shout out once again to this wet palette. I know I mention it every time, but seriously, that paint is about 4 weeks old now. That's the paint that I used to do the Dawn and Julia Create upcycling video. It's 4 weeks old and it's still so fresh. It's honestly the best product in the world. I love it. So now I decide to add a bit of sparkle because her wings have just recently unfolded. I thought it should have like a nice magical, fanciful look at my wings sort of vibe to it. So I decided to add a little bit of metallic paint because that would kind of really show up and create that gorgeous sort of metallic pearlized dusty effect against the black. So I decided to pop that down, and then because I'm playing with paint, it just becomes an essential to my life to have to splatter it. So we add some gold splatters and the doodly border, but of course this time we need to do it in white because obviously a black one wouldn't have stood out. So that was that page finished. For some reason I didn't show you the finished page, but we will see it later. I am getting some pages out of my journal. When you look back and see the dodgy editing, sorry about that. I decided it would be really cool to do a similar page, or the same page essentially, on both black and white to see how the products stand up or how different they look on a different surface. It's not something I've ever really done before, and I thought I would give it a try. Having said that I have not embossed in like forever, I suddenly find myself doing it again, mostly because I was having to think of products that would actually work on both black and white. So a lot of products that I maybe would have grabbed or reached for just wouldn't have shown up on the black, and I really wanted to stick to this concept of the fact that we were seeing how different the same products were on the two different substrates. So I go with embossing again. There we go, look at the magic. Just had to show that. It looks so good against the black as well, doesn't it? You really see it. And once again we are reaching for the metallic paint. Again, I did these two projects a couple of days apart. and yet I seem to have gone for the same products. So sometimes you sort of don't use something in a while, realise how much you love it, and have to give it a go. So I wanted to create almost like a yellow glow, so I'm using the metallic paints just to very loosely sort of colour inside the light bulb and slightly out it, so that it's the sheen from the light bulb, if that makes sense. So we just have a little bit of gold in that, and then I'm also just colouring the butterflies with the metallic pink. Then to make the light bulbs more opaque, I am pulling in my pencils. Again, I have gone for 3 shades in tones, a dark, a mid and a light, and I am colouring those up so that we have the nice bright light bulbs, and then we can see the same pencils going down on black. These particular pencils didn't show up as bright as I thought they would on the black, but we still get a nice overall effect. Now, the next part, I was struggling of how I was going to get stamping done that would work on both, and I remembered that I have these brilliant ink pads. Now I did actually do some background stamping on the page, but yet for some strange reason I forgot to press record. So we're going to see that the page has jumped somewhat, but at least you get to see me stamping using this gorgeous ink pad when I do the sentiment. So we have the sentiment there, metamorphosis, which I'm sticking down, and then from the same stamp set we have that sort of clock, which we have added to the background. And as you can see, that brilliance ink pad shows up on both the black and the white. I'm not sure which is my favourite, but it was a really interesting experiment, and it's helped me to learn quite a bit about my products. And there's the 2 pages together. So I really hope you've enjoyed this journaling session with me. If you would like some more crafting, you may want to check out this other video from the Black Friday series right here.